Bonjour and bienvenue. You're listening to Fabulously Delicious, the French food podcast, now in season 5 and proud to be the first and the longest running podcast dedicated solely to fabulous French food. I'm your host, Andrew Pryor. Enchanté.
Enchanté.
I'm a former MasterChef contestant turned full-time French food fanatic, and these days I live in La Belle, France, where life revolves around cheese boards, markets, and far too much butter. And I wouldn't have it any other way. Today we're diving into one of France's most luxurious culinary creations, Crème Fraîche. Tangy, creamy, and endlessly versatile. It's the not-so-secret ingredient that gives French cuisine that unmistakable je ne sais quoi, from sauces and soups to tarts and desserts. So grab a glass of wine, unless of course you're behind the wheel, rip off a chunk of baguette, maybe smear on some camembert cheese if you're lucky enough to have some, and settle in for another delicious journey. This is Fabulously Delicious. Ready your taste buds? Here we go. Crème Fraîche. Just saying it makes you feel like you're about to whip up something elegant, doesn't it? But what exactly is it? Well, crème fraîche, literally meaning in English, fresh cream, is a cultured dairy product that's rich, tangy, and incredibly versatile. With a butterfat content ranging from 10 to 45%, it sits somewhere between sour cream and cream cheese. But it has a silkier texture and a more delicate, refined flavour. Unlike many modern creams that are sterilised and heavily processed, traditional crème fraîche is allowed to mature naturally, developing its own subtle tang, thanks to a blend of lactic bacteria. Most commonly, it's made from cow's milk, but some artisanal producers also craft versions using sheep's milk, offering a slightly different, richer taste. Now, not all crème fraîche is created the same. There are two main types, and the difference lies in how the cream is treated before fermentation. Traditional crème fraîche, often sold locally or directly from farms, is made from raw cream. It starts by skimming the cream from fresh unpasteurised milk, which is then cultured with lactic bacteria and left to mature during a phase known as denaturation. This method preserves the natural qualities of the milk, including its distinct regional character and microbiota, which can subtly influence flavour and texture. The result is a crème fraîche that's rich, complex, and often a bit thicker. However, because it's made from raw milk, it's typically only available through short supply chains or direct sales from farms, where it can be carefully stored and monitored. The other, more widely available version is pasteurised crème fraîche, the one you're most likely to find in supermarkets. This version follows a similar process, but the cream is heat-treated first to kill off any potential harmful bacteria before the starter cultures are added. The result is a more standardized product with a slightly cleaner, milder flavor and a longer shelf life, usually around 30 days from production, or 2 days once the container is opened. While it may lack some of the depth and nuance of its raw counterpart, pasteurised crème fraîche is still incredibly delicious and far superior in both flavour and versatility compared to, say, sour cream or some of the other thickened supermarket creams. The magic happens when the bacterial culture, typically a mix of lactosis, species like L. cremeris or L. lactis, and Lactis biovia dianakix. Now that's a mouthful. Diacetylactis is introduced to the cream. These friendly microbes thicken the cream and give it its gentle acidity and characteristic tang. Depending on the region and the producer, the final product can vary from fluid and pourable, like the famed fresh cream of Alsace, to thick and spoonable, ideal for topping tarts, enriching sauces, or simply swirling into soups. Whether raw or pasteurised, cow's or sheep's milk, Crème Fraîche is a cornerstone of French dairy tradition and one that deserves a prime place in your fridge and your cooking repertoire. When it comes to Crème Fraîche in France, there's one name that stands out well above the rest: Isigny. Nestled in Normandy, the town of Isigny-sur-Mer is home to Crème Fraîche, so prized for its quality and tradition that since 1986, it holds the coveted Appellation d'Origine of Control, AOC. The only cream actually in France to have earned this designation. Today, it also carries the PDO, or Protected Designation of Origin, status under the EU's food labelling system, which protects regional foods made according to traditional methods. Isigny Crème Fraîche is made exclusively from milk sourced in the Bessin and Cotentin regions, an area celebrated for its lush pastures and rich dairy heritage. This isn't just any cream, it's a product of place, history, and meticulous craftsmanship. To meet the stringent requirements of the AOC and PDO status, Isigny Crème Fraîche must be produced using pasture-fed, untreated milk, collected from within a 35-kilometre radius of the local cooperative. The cream undergoes a slow, traditional fermentation process that lasts between 16 to 18 hours, allowing the lactic bacteria to gradually thicken and enrich the cream. The result is a luxurious product with a firm, creamy texture and a distinct ivory or pale yellow hue, a reflection of the beta-carotene that are naturally present in the cow's grass-fed diet. No preservatives or artificial treatments are permitted. It's this strict adherence to tradition and terroir that gives Isigny Crème Fraîche its depth of flavour, its subtle tang, and, of course, its long-standing reputation in French cuisine. Bonjour, mes amis. Planning a trip to Paris? Or maybe you're already strolling the charming streets of this incredible city. Either way, let me take your foodie experience to the next level. As someone who's eaten my way through every arrondissement of Paris, I've turned my love of Parisian cuisine into a guide just for you. Say hello to the 2025 edition of Paris, a Fabulous Food Guide to the world's most delicious city. This isn't any guide. It's packed with over 400 recommendations of my favourite foodie spots, from hidden gems to iconic must-visits. Think buttery croissants from the city's best boulangeries, or silky chocolates from indulgent chocolate shops, creamy cheeses from some of the top fromageries, and a whole lot more. This new edition is bigger and better than ever. It features more restaurants, cafes, and wine bars, plus exciting new sections for vegan and vegetarian eats, dining with a view, and a reimagined food walking tour that will have you falling in love with Paris one bite at a time. So, are you ready to eat your way through Paris? Get a copy at andrewpryorfabulously.com, where you can even get a signed and gift package version. But it's also available on Amazon, and there's even a Kindle version for you. Happy eating, and let's make your time in Paris fabulously delicious. Of course, Crème Fraîche isn't exclusive to Normandy. It's produced across many other dairy-rich regions in France, including Brittany, Poitou-Charentes, Lorraine, and the Champagne region, all of which have their own local variations and characteristics. However, regardless of where it's made, European labelling regulations are very clear. For a product to be labelled as Crème Fraîche, it must contain only 2 ingredients: cream and the bacterial culture. That simplicity is part of its charm. No stabilizers, no thickeners, no preservatives, just quality cream and time-honored fermentation. It's a beautiful example of how a minimalist ingredient list paired with careful technique and regional know-how, can yield something utterly luxurious. The origins of crème fraîche are rooted in the pastoral traditions of Normandy and Brittany, two regions in northern France where dairy farming have thrived through the centuries. These areas are known for their lush green pastures and cool, damp climate, creating an ideal condition for producing high-quality milk. Long before refrigeration or industrial dairy techniques, French farmers would leave milk to sit at room temperature, allowing the cream to naturally rise to the top. This cream would slowly ferment due to the presence of naturally occurring lactic acid bacteria, giving birth to a thickened, mildly tangy cream that was both delicious and longer lasting. As time passed, crème fraîche became more than just a happy accident. It became a staple in French cooking, particularly during the Middle Ages, when dairy played a central role in rural diets. Its popularity soared not only because of its taste, but because of a rather unique property. Crème fraîche can be heated without curdling. This makes it ideal for a wide range of dishes, from creamy sauces and soups to baked gratins and velvety purees. Unlike milk or low-fat cream, crème fraîche maintains its texture and adds a distinct silkiness and subtle acidity. Classic dishes like tarte flambée from Alsace, quiche Lorraine, and even the elegant sauce Normandy for seafood rely on crème fraîche for their signature richness. The spread of French culinary influence across Europe naturally carried crème fraîche with it, and by the 18th and 19th century, neighbouring countries were producing their own versions of the cultured cream. In Germany, a similar product called Schmand emerged, and in Russia and Eastern Europe, it's smetana. In the Nordic countries, you'll find variations often used with herring or potatoes. And in Central and South America, there's crema, which each of these have its own nuances in terms of fat content, fermentation time, and texture. They all share a similar core, a tammy, thickened cream that enhances a wide variety of regional dishes. But few have achieved the cultural and culinary success and status that crème fraîche enjoys here in France. When compared to sour cream, which is more familiar to many outside of France, crème fraîche stands apart for several reasons. First, it has a higher fat content, typically around 30 to 45% compared to sour cream's 18 to 20%. This gives it a richer, more indulgent texture and means it doesn't split when heated. The fermentation process for crème fraîche is usually longer and slower, resulting in a flavour that is less sharp and more nuanced, with subtle nutty, buttery and slightly sweet undertones. In contrast, sour cream is often more acidic, tangier, and may contain added thickness, stabilizers or preservatives, which are generally not allowed in traditional French crème fraîche, particularly those with protected status, like the Isigny PDO, AOC. Love French food and curious about the stories behind it? Well, then you definitely want to follow me on Instagram, where I'm sharing bite-sized videos of the fascinating history of French cuisine. From iconic dishes to quirky culinary traditions, there's always something fabulous to discover. Plus, you'll get behind-the-scenes peeks at life here in France, like cobblestone streets, cheese shops, and a lot of delicious detours. Follow me at andrewpryorfabulously.com on Instagram and Threads. Your appetite and your inner history nerd will thank you. In the kitchen, crème fraîche is as versatile as it is luxurious. In its cold form, it's often dolloped generously over fresh berries or poached fruits, offering a rich contrast to sweetness. It's just as at home, swirled through dessert sauces, mousses, or layered in trifles, giving them a silky, tangy lift. Can also replace whipped cream for those who prefer a more subtle sweetness. But crème fraîche isn't just for sweet indulgences. Its slightly acidic profile make it a dream addition to salad dressings, dips, or as a cooling side to spicy dishes like curries or chili. When used warm, crème fraîche shines in soups, stews, and pan sauces, where its high fat content, typically over 30%, means that it can be heated gently without curdling, unlike sour cream or yogurt. It's also a go-to ingredient for finishing velvety sauces for fish, poultry, or pasta even, adding depth and body. That said, it's not completely immune to curdling, so if overheated, especially in homemade versions, it may separate. To avoid this, it's best added at the end of the cooking or off the heat, allowing it to melt into the dishes gracefully. Whether you're creating a rustic French tart or a contemporary canapé, crème fraîche brings a subtle complexity that elevates every bite. Crème fraîche also keeps well, making it a handy staple to have in your fridge. Once opened, it should be stored refrigerated at 4 Celsius or below and used within 2 to 3 days, though some pasteurised versions can last longer. It's best stored in its original container, tightly sealed to prevent it from absorbing other flavours. In terms of substitutions, crème fraîche can often stand in for sour cream, heavy cream, or even yogurt in both cooking and baking. Just keep in mind its slightly tangier flavour and thicker consistency. It adds richness without overwhelming the other ingredients. Whether you're finishing a velouté, baking a moist cake, or assembling a cheese board, crème fraîche is the creamy ace up your culinary sleeve. Today, crème fraîche continues to enjoy pride of place not only in French kitchens, but in restaurants and homes around the world. In France, it's available in both raw and pasteurised forms, with the raw version often sold directly by farmers at markets or specialty shops, like a local farmer does here in Le Blanc, a nearby town. The French line up for his crème fraîche. Chefs worldwide have embraced it for both traditional and contemporary cooking, dolloping it onto smoked salmon, stirring it into risottos, spooning it over desserts, or even whisking it into salad dressings. Whether used in a Michelin-starred Parisian bistro or a humble country kitchen, crème fraîche is a perfect symbol of French culinary elegance, rich, natural, and steeped in history. Hey fabulous food lovers, I just wanted to send a huge shout out to all of you tuning in from around the world. It's amazing to see this little podcast of mine climbing the Apple food charts. Currently I'm ranked number 36 in food in Vietnam and an incredible number 14 in food in Ireland. If any of you Irish want to pop over to France and visit, please come. Thank you so much for listening, sharing and supporting the podcast. You make this journey so deliciously rewarding. Keep spreading the foodie love. Merci beaucoup. Julia Child said about crème fraîche, crème fraîche is a French chef's secret weapon. It enriches sauces without curdling and lends a beautiful subtle tang. And Joel Robuchon said, the richness of a sauce comes from the quality of its ingredients. Crème fraîche adds that perfect balance of creaminess and acidity. And that's a wrap on this creamy, dreamy episode of Fabulously Delicious, the French Food Podcast. Did you learn something new about crème fraîche today? Maybe a fun food fact to whip out at your next dinner party, or even a craving you didn't know that you had. I'd love to hear all about it. Slide into my DMs on Instagram at andrewpryorfabulously.com, or you can email me at contact@andrewpryorfabulously.com. Whether it's about French food, foodie films, or your own fabulous culinary adventures, let's keep the delicious conversation going. If you enjoyed today's episode, share the crème fraîche love. Tell your friends, your foodie group chat, or that one person who insists on putting sour cream on everything. They need to know there's something even better out there. And if you're feeling très chic, leave a review or hit those 5 stars. It helps more fabulous food lovers find the show and keeps the butter, cream, and the good vibes flowing. Make sure you subscribe or follow the podcast so you never miss a bite. I've got another scrumptious episode coming up that you won't want to miss. So trust me, it's going to be just as tasty. Thanks so much for listening. Your love for French food and culture is what makes this podcast such a joy to create. Until next time, remember, whatever you do it fabulously. Merci beaucoup, and as always, bon appétit. Au revoir. See you on the next episode.